Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be looking at the Redditor who claims he has seen a few hours of random GTA 6 gameplay from a 2024 build. So, this was originally posted to the GTA subreddit and it was removed. So, we're going to read the follow-up first, where he wrote a lot, and then we're going to read a lot of the comments that he replied to. So, let's get straight into it. So first it started with I've seen in person a few hours of random GTA 6 gameplay from a 2024 build. Ask me anything. So originally, when this came out, there was a bunch of stuff. He's basically saying that the world's going to be very active. Like if you get in a car crash, NPCs will come and clean up the car crash, fix the road, all of that. That was the very basic bit. He was like, most objects in the world will interact with your car and stuff like that. So let's read the next one. This one is still up 3 days ago. Let's give it a read. Regarding my earlier post about GTA 6 gameplay, I tried to reply to as many people as I could. There were and still are tens of messages and all, still replying whenever I can. However, many people got weirdly stuck on the maintenance cleaning system that I mentioned. Since I personally really loved that, I thought it was more exciting about the realism of the game and feeling alive rather than other things, which is why I left to AMA, so people could ask their questions and curiosity of the things I might have seen. Many users really blew it out of proportions and understood it wrong, took it to the extreme, said, how come that was the only thing I saw? LMAO. Later in Debris, maintenance crews, WTF. So I'll try to simplify it here and do a recap of other stuff I wrote in the comments slash scene and gameplay. I'll start with the ones I did not mention in my first post and finish it off with the cleaning section. The vehicle physics are way more realistic. So is the crash physics. Each car has its own feel depending on the type and what upgrades have been done to it. If it has extra weight, armor, passengers, bodies in the truck, so the rear will squeeze down and add weight. The crash physics remind me of that crash simulator game you see people playing. I think he's referring to BeamNG. Headlights can fall off. Rear lights, trunk. If you have a body in the trunk, it'll become visible on NPCs and start recording calling the cops. Bonnets, mirrors, and it's really violent and high-speed crash. The cars can bend and cut in half, like hitting a huge thick pole that is not destructible, so a lot of debris will be physically there from big or violent crashes. The weapon inventory is multiple. You will have one weapon wheel. For when you are on foot, you will be able to carry a handgun, rifles, one on back, smaller strap to the front, knife, backpack for misc stuff like grenades, explosives. Then there's the trucker van weapon wheel inventory, having clothing and multiple weapons and add-ons from silencers, grenade launchers for the rifle, to lasers, pointers, and scopes, gun sights, and so on. You can fill it as much as you would do in real life, so having multiple car inventories is smart. Building, I think, will be enterable like 40%. You can blow out windows and doors to anything that is enterable. That means big hotels, skyscrapers, banks, malls, the smaller ones like pawn shops, gas stations, etc., which are enterable, aka all of them, spreading them out over the map, are more destructible and not just the windows and doors. You can actually destroy them 60% of the way, having certain walls crumble, inside shot up, burned down, roofs destroyed and bent. The frame of the building will stand mostly, so it is not full destruction, only parts of it. The graphics are even better than RDR2. There is a real jump from it, even though RDR2 still looks beautiful, but GTA 6 looks and feels truly next gen. And I don't mean in a hyper realistic way necessarily. They chose a more unique approach to it, but it's truly breathtaking, especially the stormy and hurricane type weather, which I asked to see. It feels real and looks like it is actually happening. Wind moving poles and roadsides, NPCs losing their balance and running for cover, and so much more. Both characters, Jason and Lucia, have their own feel and weight, movements personally, so to speak. They shoot differently, they hold guns differently, aim differently, especially Lucia. If Lucia tries to hold a heavier and bigger rifle, the character movement is more developed. And as the old leaks show, they can do a lot more now and even climb certain smaller walls and fences jump between roofs in a realistic body movement barrel roll way. There's a stealth aspect to it also. Character movement really feels modern now and blends many things, something you'd see in Hitman game or Ghost Recon. Clothing has its own physics. It actually sits on the body and the movements influence how the cloth behaves. You can hide handguns under your shirt, either in the front or backside or boots. And when you reach for it, your gun, the clothing actually interacts with your hand, pulls up, you can see under it. Clothes tear, get dirty, sweaty, wet, bloody, and react to the knife cuts and bullets. Gore level is on par with RDR2. Shooting NPCs feels way more realistic. There is better center mass, better center of mass. NPCs react in a more realistic way. You can actually feel even by the looks that they are getting shot and the bullets hit a mass. For example, the person who played slash was testing stuff shot up close an NPC once in the gut slash stomach with the handgun, which prompted the NPC to move slightly back, bend forward, and put his hand on his stomach, checked for the blood, then started coming out. Looked at his buddy palm, stumbled a few feet, then dropped to his knees, gasping for air and asking something, stuttering, why did you shoot me?" His face actually showed pain and shock. Then he shot the guy in the shoulder. The NPC fell backwards onto his sides and made noises as someone in pain would and bleeding out. The NPC made a realistic movement when the bullet hit the body. Shoulder moved towards the back, and really felt like a real shooting. I think shooting at random NPCs in the game will be harder because it will feel very real. Litter also has physical properties and reacts to the world and user. You can pick up bottles and someone's smash someone in the head or throw it as a diversion. You can carry bodies on your shoulder and dispose of them in multiple ways. And now the best for the last, probably forgot them. I said that there will be random construction workers slash heavy machines on the side of the road, working, shutting down the lanes, etc. Here and there doing work, adding to the realism and the feel of a live city and society, especially when you drive around randomly. Those are scripted and have specific job to work on as time passes, like RDR2 but more advanced. It adds to the feel and that you were part of a living, breathing place. I'm not going to read these last three, but I'll basically summarize them. He's defending what he said in the last post, where people are getting angry because he talked about the construction workers and how, if you get into a car wreck, they'll shut down the lanes and it'll take forever for them to building up and stuff like that. He's saying that that does happen, but it's not as big as you would think. He's also talking about destruction, how like the streets can get destroyed a little bit and people fill it up, and like there's like random events with car crashes, which I'm sure we all assumed. So we'll start reading some of the comments. Hey, thanks for posting, bro. Glad to see no one hating on some questions. What do you know about the car customization? Did it really look like the trailer? Did it feel as full? Any ideas what the story is about? And like, was Lucia and Jason always together? Is there a bunch of objects slash household objects we can interact with? It's a lot, even if you can answer one, please, or just cool details. You'll be posting more. He said, car customization seemed to be a key point in the game, but it won't have some crazy engine and brake swapping stuff. There'll be a lot of aesthetical upgrades: decals, liveries, wheel sets, lights, neons, window tint, suspension height, and even light armor on some. Don't know about the origin of the story and game story overall, just bits and pieces from what I gathered from a couple missions being tested slash played. The part with Lucia is not from the beginning but towards the end. So now people are getting angry. You could use a spoiler tag. You didn't have to spoil us by telling Lucia a thing, or you could have used a spoiler tag if you were telling the truth. What the fuck, bro? And then he said you'd find that out in the promo months anyway. Next up, we have how about police? And what else did you see with the map? Police AI is very smart and works in groups, communicating with each other. They can split in two or more smaller groups to flank you. Move to a higher position if possible. Example, upstairs in a building. If you out on the road exposed, there are buildings around you enterable, which in most cases are not all obviously but enough. Map related. Only had a chance to take a glimpse for like 10 seconds after I insisted. It's big, like actually big, and it's like an island again. Go figure. I didn't have time to catch details, names, environments, and this was X amount of months ago. Someone asked me to draw from memory over the mapping project to see what it looks like, the difference between that and what I saw, and I will do that. Next up, we have Can you greet slash antagonize NPCs like RDR2? Randomly chatting with NPCs is a family favorite in these parts. You can interact with most of them, and they are conscious about you, the player. You can rob them at gunpoint or intimidate them by putting their phones away if they're recording you. I mean, the NPC reacts to the user slash player and what you do. If you look suspicious and put a mask on, got a gun, they'll start looking at you and pull out their phones besides them. If you shoot or you are seen coming out of the store with the alarms, aka going off, aka you robbed a store, they will record you and others call the cops. In time, I also understood they will start recognizing you two more and become because of the news and slash info slash social you got put on. Basically, people will recognize you as the game goes on as you become more infamous. Okay, now this person says, I really want to believe this, but it just seems improbable from a random Reddit comment. I'm gonna wait until you show some proof or the second trailer confirms any of what you mentioned. He said, totally understandable. Next up, regarding weather, are there any tornadoes slash water spouts? And if so, do they do actual damage? Also, what about boat physics? In the trailer, we saw some big super yachts. If you could shoot a couple holes in the bottom, would they sink realistically and slowly fill with water? He said, there are hurricane type storms and extreme winds that can tear out road signs and stuff, influence how cars drive, blow people off their feet, flood streets and underpasses. I didn't see tornadoes, and I doubt there will be some big destructive type tornadoes. That's just too much on a scale of this game. So, how did you come to see this gameplay footage? Because it is kind of suspicious for someone to say they saw GTA 6. Are you a Rockstar employee or something? Secondly, is English your native language? Lastly, what stood out to you most in the gameplay? He replies, no, English is not my native message. DM me and I'll give you a rough idea of how I saw it. And lastly, as I stated before, I was amazed by the way the game feels alive and how NPCs are like actually real people, living their lives and acting accordingly. At least for me, that was the cherry on top. How is the NPC interactivity compared to RDR2? With intro buildings, did you see any like malls, skyscrapers, etc.? Is Vice City and the map more one-to-one scale than Los Santos from GTA 5? He said the NPCs are aware of you, the player. Yeah, we've already seen this one. As I mentioned in the last post, skyscrapers malls are interable. Not exactly. It has parts that resemble real life, but it's not a one-to-one map. Okay, I've DM'd him, hoping to sort of get an interview. So we will see if that happens, and of course I'll update if it does happen. I don't think it will. I don't think he has been too active recently. He's last replied 10 hours ago, so we can only hope. So, what do I think of it? I think that a lot of the stuff he kind of talks about is things that you could reasonably just guess about the game, right? Like, I could have guessed that there will be these NPC jobs that have these intricate systems because, of course, they will. Of course, Rockstar is going to make this lively world. He's saying very obvious things. So, I mean, it literally could go either way. I'm tending to believe he has seen something, but maybe he's making up part of things. He's adding on to things that don't actually exist just to make people happy and kind of ride out the fame a little bit. That's what I think. I hope he gets back to me, but I don't wait out for that. I don't think it's gonna happen. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let's see if this one gets dislike bombed again. Anyway, thanks for watching. Come back again, subscribe, you know the drill.